Services Committee for Subcommittee for 2024. The first bill up, I'm sorry, we do have a couple of administrative matters. We are going to, per the request of the patrons for House Bill 241 and House Bill 593, we will take those, they've asked that we will take them by for the day. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is properly seconded, and it is now before us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. House Bill 241 and 593 have been taken by for the day. The first bill up that we'll hear will be House Bill 150 by Delegate Helmer.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Madam Chair, House Bill 150 is a bill that those of you who were here last year have seen before, and we all liked, and just needed a little bit more work. So there is a substitute. The substitute is something we've discussed with the administration to make sure we stay in line with federal law as well. So I leave that to the pleasure of the committee. The substitute.
The substitute, can we get a motion for the substitute?
Second.
There's been a motion, it's properly seconded, that we consider the substitute to adopt the substitute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The substitute is properly before us. Please speak to that. Your substitute, Delegate Helmer.
Madam Chair, House Bill 150 is a pretty simple bill that just says that when applying for WIC and SNAP, if you are not required by federal law to be in person, we're not going to require you to be in person. We know that the requirement to be in person can be an obstacle for those who are trying to seek to work, to do childcare, and I appreciate the work of the administration and stakeholders to find language that we would all be okay with here. So with that, Madam Chair, I turn it over to the subcommittee.
Delegate Orrock.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, is there someone from the administration who could speak to the measure?
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carl.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Madam Chair.
And unfortunately, Madam
Delegate
Chairman,
Orrock.
I'm sorry. Not knowing until just now there was a substitute and
Yes,
being one that plays with paper, not computers, sorry. Could you tell us the difference, and also in that same process, are there ever circumstances the federal does not require in-person applications?
Yes, sir. So, Madam Chair and Delegate Orrock, so we brought the amendments directly to Delegate Helmer today. This puts it back in the posture that it was last year. So just so you know, whenever it came out of the committee last year, the bill puts it right back in the same posture that it was last year. And so the bill, as it was originally drafted, prohibits us from being able to bring people in for in-person interviews. There are situations that are under the federal statute that we have to have the ability to bring people in for in-person interviews. And so what the bill really does is it puts that section in compliance with federal statute and allows us the permissibility to bring somebody in if we need an in-person interview. That's really the change from what the original is versus the draft that's in front of you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And for folks who are here and with their devices or online, we are trying to be paperless in the HHS committee, and so you can follow along on all of the substitutes and amendments after they've been proffered will be available online. Are there any questions from committee members? All right. Are there any folks in the room who would like to speak in support of this bill?
Hi, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. I'm Cassie Edner with Virginia Poverty Law Center, and we support this bill because we believe that it will make individuals have that ability to telephonically show up for the interview, and I hope you all support the bill too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Allison Gilbreth, Voices for Virginia's Children, and we also support this bill.
Great, thank you. Are there any folks in the room who are here to oppose the bill? All right, seeing none. Any questions from the committee? Delegate Helmer, did you want to have a final word?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm at the will of the committee.
All right. Committee operates by motion.
Madam Chair, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion.
Delegate Shin.
I'd move to report this bill.
Second.
I'm sorry. I'd move to report the substitute.
Second.
Okay, just want to double check that this does not have to go to appropriations. Correct. So the motion that's been properly seconded before us to move to report the substitute, and Madam Clerk, if you can open the roll, please vote. All right, please close the roll, and House Bill 150's substitute has passed the subcommittee on a vote of 8-0. Thank you, Delegate Helmer.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee.
All right, thank you. I have so many things on my table. Delegate Carlson. One moment, Delegate Carlson. I just want to make sure for our IT team, I think her mic is not. Oh, there.
But there's a push button as well that I probably should have done.
Could you please repeat your earlier comments?
Yes. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. You have before you House Bill 27. I distributed a substitute that I would like. There are some additional changes from the paper version that I left with your offices. I have provided it, and it should be available should it be the will of the board to consider it.
I think that the delegate has some amendments that she would like to have properly before us, committee members.
Madam Chair, I'd move adoption of the amendments.
Second.
Or the substitutes.
I'm just confirming with council that we have a substitute. Okay,
I'd move
apologize.
adoption of the substitute.
Second.
All right, before us, Delegate
Yeah,
Ora?
Madam Chairman, before we act to that, because unfortunately I don't have that language, could you just tell us what the differences are?
Yes, so it was the deletion of a requirement that a plan be submitted to the court that was on the suggestion of OES, who I had the chance to talk to today, and it's the deletion of this section. It's line 183 to 192 on the version I have. Unfortunately, a lot have circulated. So I'll say it's the deletion of the section that stipulates the procedure for pursuing a removal. It's redundant because you can refer to the code section 16.1, 252, 253, and figure out how to do removal through that. That was also on the suggestion of OES. It is not substantive changes.
Thank you, Delegate Orrock. Thank you, Delegate Carlson. I think that our motion was made and properly seconded to move the substitute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Great. The substitute's in front of us. Can you please tell us what your bill does and how it helps to address the issue you're focused on? Yes.
So I'll note that I am joined by the Deputy Commissioner of Human Services at the Department of Social Services, Carl Ayers. I'm joined by the Children's Ombudsman, Eric Reynolds, Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Resources, Leah Mills, advocates with the Voices for Virginia's Children, and the Policy Law Clinic at the University of Virginia, among a number of other stakeholders on this critical measure that, as written, primarily adds a new code section to codify and formalize kinship placements that occur outside of foster care. The goal here is to put up guardrails on those cases that have traditionally been handled through a safety plan. Safety plans are implemented differently depending on the Department of Social Services local agency, and they don't have overarching statutory guidelines right now. Currently, they can be implemented without timelines, goals, and sometimes they have not stipulated follow-up services or support that will be offered to those families. And as a result, children have fallen through the cracks, and parents have been left confused and uncertain how to achieve reunification. I will say that this bill gives a little bit to everybody in a very complicated section of law. For parents and relatives, it gives them clarity about the duration of the placement, the goals to be achieved, and the purposes of safety planning. For DSS, it is a way for us to achieve more funding for kinship, for support services to both parents and the kinship placement to support the placement so that it doesn't disrupt and hopefully reunification can be achieved. And for children, it encourages kinship placement instead of foster care where appropriate. For every generalization, there is an exception, but research strongly indicates that kinship placements lead to reduced trauma, increased permanency outcomes. They result in less educational and life disruptions, and they improve familial bonding. And I'll say that my background is Deputy City Attorney for the City of Charlottesville, representing the Department of Social Services. I'm so pleased to be patroning this measure to give DSS additional flexibility to address cases and create better outcomes for children and families. And for that reason, I'm asking for your support. And I also I ask for leave to please allow Divya Sharma, who's with the UVA Law Clinic, to provide some additional comments.
Great. Thank you so much, Delegate. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Tran and members of the committee. My name is Divya Sharma, and I'm a student in the State and Local Government Policy Clinic at UVA. The views I express today are not those of the university or the law school. My partner Ryan Karp and I have had the privilege of working with Delegate Carlson to develop this legislation, and I'm here today to ask that you support HB 27. To elaborate on what Delegate Carlson has said, HB 27 will tackle two main problems within Virginia's foster care system. First, HB 27 replaces the current practice of informal, unaccountable custody transfers with a documented, well-resourced, and time-limited plan. The alternative will protect children through agency oversight and financial assistance while minimizing placement insecurity and trauma. Second, HB 27 will help Virginia increase its utilization of kinship care providers. Despite the overwhelming evidence that children in kinship care have far better outcomes than their peers in foster care, Virginia unfortunately lags behind other states in this area. By prioritizing kinship care placements if children cannot return home and providing sufficient funding for kinship care providers, HB 27 will increase the number of successful kinship placements and help Virginia better protect its most vulnerable children. For all of these reasons and those given by Delegate Carlson, I urge you to vote for HB 27. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Divya. Do we have any questions from committee members?
Madam Chair, I'd like to speak to the bill.
Delegate Shin?
Is that a thing I can do?
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank the delegate for bringing this bill forward and to acknowledge how much work went into it. I think it's a great bill that will ensure the kids of Virginia are not falling through the cracks, and it also incentivizes and allows more provisions to be given to kinship families to be able to care for the kid, and I really just want to thank the delegate for this.
Thank you so much. Delegate Carlson, you can come back to the podium in case you have questions. Yeah, that's great. Are there any other questions or anybody else want to speak to the bill? Delegate Walker? I think our request to speak button is not connected. There we go. Delegate Walker. Trying to trick me. Delegate Walker, go ahead.
Thank you. So, Madam Chair and the sponsor of the bill, I'm very much in favor of kinship. In my area of Lynchburg, Patrick Henry Family Services has well educated me in this area of need out here. And so I'm glad to see this coming forth today, and I think it's a good bill that will encourage support for all of us up here. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Delegate Walker. All right, I'm going to ask for testimony from the public. We do have some folks who've signed up on via Zoom to speak with us as well, but I'm going to start with support and opposition in the room first. So any folks who are here to speak in support of the bill, please line up, and we'll take public testimony. All right, go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman. My name is Janet Kelly. I'm a former Secretary of the Commonwealth in Virginia, and until last week was a special advisor to the Governor for Children and Families. I'm also, more importantly for today, a kinship mom. As any parent knows, clarity is kindness. And as a parent or a leader, when you give that clarity, clear expectations, what you can expect back is operating in confidence. And sometimes systems need that clarity too, and we're certainly at that point in Virginia on the foster care system. When I became a kinship parent 12 years ago, I was a lot of things, but confused was the main one. I did not understand this nebulous system. Not many people did back then. I didn't understand how his bio family could get custody back if they were able to become healthy and stable. I didn't understand how I could gain custody of a child without a background check. And so I can only imagine if I was confused. Keep in mind, I was Secretary of the Commonwealth, how other families might feel and how my son felt. He was only 18 months old at the time, but as we know, the body keeps score. And so this bill creates that much needed clarity that will reduce that unnecessary confusion for everyone in the system. And I just want to say before I close, I am so deeply grateful to Delegate Carlson. You did a great job on the bill. To the folks that in the room that we've talked to on the dais who have expressed support, and to the many people in the room who have worked for over a decade to get a bill like this through. So I strongly, strongly encourage you to support this bipartisan bill, and thank you in advance.
Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Allison Gilbreth, Voices for Virginia's Children. We too support this bill. I'd also like to speak on a personal note that at 19 years old, I took custody of my niece, who was 4 at the time. This was very difficult because I was not receiving financial assistance to do so, because we were told that's just what relatives should do. But because I had stepped up and took custody of her, she experienced less trauma with the transition. She received support from me and understanding of her culture, which is incredibly important. And I'm proud to say that she is 18 years old now, in college and thriving. And I cannot imagine how much better her life would have been if I would have received some financial assistance, some caseworking support, and you can only imagine how difficult that would have been at only 19 years old. So for those reasons, and also in addition to that, Children's Home Society supports this bill as well. We ask you to support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I am really glad to see a long line of public testimony. I do want to give a chance for everybody to be heard, but if you can keep your comments brief, because we also have some folks online too. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Karen Addison, representing United Methodist Family Services, and proudly support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Rebecca Morgan. I am president of the Virginia League of Social Services Executives, and I am also the director of Middlesex Department of Social Services. This bill will give local workers in the field doing this work every day the tools and resources we need to ensure that children are placed with relatives whenever possible. This is the culmination of over 10 years of work from local departments and our state partners, and we appreciate the committee's consideration of this bill today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and on behalf of the administration, I'm Carl Ayers, Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Social Services. We thank Delegate Carlson for carrying this bill on our behalf. We strongly support the measure that is in front of you. As you've already heard, this is a decade's worth of work that is put into this legislation, and all the advocates, all the partners that have come with us to present this in front of you. So we ask that you will fully support this measure, and thank you in advance.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Eric Reynolds, I'm the director of the Office of the Children's Ombudsman. Everybody else took my thunder, so I'm not going to repeat, but I am strongly support and thank Delegate Carlson for carrying this bill. It is a culmination of a lot of work and a lot of collaboration amongst many players and stakeholders. This is an issue that was identified in my annual report from last year, my actual first report, because I'm a very new office. As an issue that needs to be fixed, and this gets us in the right direction to finally fixing this issue that we've been working on for so many years. So thank you very much for your consideration, and I do support it strongly. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. My name is Sandy Carrison, Office of the Executive Secretary, Supreme Court of Virginia. The court does not have an official position on the bill. However, I would like to express appreciation for the working relationships, the time that Delegate Carlson has taken, working with also with the administration, with Eric Reynolds, to address some of the court's concerns around language, technical concerns. We do have a couple of technical concerns remaining. I'd like for you to know that were not addressed by the line amendments today. Or in the substitute. However, we're confident, based upon the way that our conversations are going so far, that those concerns will be addressed as time goes on with the bill. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And then online, I think we have Ms. Renee Brown.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak today, Madam Chair and subcommittee members. I will be brief because my thoughts are very similar to many of the people who have spoke before me. I am here representing my organization, DePaul Community Resources, as well as a membership as a part of the Virginia Network of Private Providers, VMPP. And last but not least, as a parent and a concerned citizen from the Roanoke Valley. I feel I'm in the unique position to speak on this bill because I have been a foster parent. I have been a kinship placement for my son's best friend, and I'm now the CEO of an organization that provides therapeutic foster care services and through grants, informal kinship care. We are experiencing a crisis, especially in Roanoke. We have the highest number of children in foster care in the state, and that's not just per capita, that's raw numbers. We are struggling with finding foster parents, as many organizations are across the Commonwealth. We are not going to foster parent our way out of this crisis. What we can do is get upstream and support families who and communities and family members who can support their children. As people have said, the outcomes are so much better. We're spending about $74,000 a year per child in foster care. We can support children in their communities, in their families for far less. When I became my son's best friend's guardian, I was not provided any support. I did it anyway. And it's not because I'm so self-sacrificing, it's because I had the means and I knew what was at stake. You now have heard what is at stake, and obviously you have the means to support families across the Commonwealth. So I hope you decide to do so.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, and Dr. Carlson and Delegate Carlson for the bill.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. Next, I have Ms. Janet Kelly. Apologies for that. Thank you. And then lastly, we have Sixto Cancel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sixto Cancel. Thank you to the committee for this bill. My name is Sixto Cancel, and growing up in foster care was rough. I entered the system as an 11-month baby, and at the age of 9, I experienced a very abusive adoption. By 13, I was couch surfing until I was placed back in foster care when I was 15. I remember being 16 and thinking to myself that no one was going to come to save me, and I just had to accept that I was going to age out. And that's exactly what happened. No family, no adoption. I was 27 when I found my father's side of the family at a family reunion. What was supposed to be this magical moment turned into this moment of grief. I had 4 aunts who were foster adoptive parents in the foster care system longer than I had been alive. In that moment, all I can do was pull out my phone and GPS to the foster home I had aged out of, 58 miles away. I had kin 58 miles away. This bill would have helped me be raised by a kin who could have loved me. The bill empowers workers to find families. I found my father's side of the family in 3 calls once I got the courage to look. If the Parent-Child Safety Placement Program in this bill existed, my mother would have had someone to work with, a worker, to reach out to my father's side of the family. My aunt, who had already adopted kids from the foster care system, would have been an easy placement. I asked my biological mother why she let this happen. She said she was embarrassed to reach out to my father's side. It would be admitting that she wasn't a good mother. Now I know that we have great social workers who move mountains. I know a worker would have been able to work with her through that. I believe that I could have been raised with kin who could have loved me if this bill would have been available, if this bill would have passed when I was younger. So I'm fully in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Is there anybody in the room who is opposed to this bill? All right. Any further questions from the committee? Delegate Carlson, do you have a last word?
I just want to express my sincere gratitude to not only the committee, the subcommittee, but also everyone in the room who has worked with me and has done work before I came to get this bill to fruition.
Thank you. I believe this bill needs to be referred to appropriations, and the committee operates by motion.
Madam Chair, I'd move to report and refer this to appropriations.
Second.
Sorry.
The sub.
Madam Chair, I'd move to report and refer the substitute to appropriations, please.
Second.
All right, we have a motion that's been properly seconded to report and refer the substitute to appropriations. Madam Clerk, if you can open the roll. Everybody, please vote. All right, please close the roll, and House Bill 27's substitute has been reported to refer to appropriations by a vote of 8-0. Congratulations. Who is in the room? Delegate Cole. I believe you have House Bill 537.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. There is an amendment to this bill that has been provided by the Department of Social Services.
Delegate Orrick has some written copies of the amendments. I love that. I'm sorry, Delegate Cole, do you have amendments or a substitute? Line amendments? Line amendments.
Madam Chair, I'd move adoption of the line amendments.
Second.
We have a motion to adopt the line amendments. It's been properly seconded. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Great. The line amendments are adopted and before us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. HB 537 establishes the home visiting program within the Department of Social Services with the primary objective of providing support to pregnant individuals and parents with young children who face heightened risk and barriers in achieving positive maternal and child health outcomes. The bill mandates the department may utilize the standards set out by the Virginia Plan for Home Visiting as established by Early Impact Virginia, a group comprised of both governmental and private entities working to ensure all pregnant and parenting families have access to home visiting. This legislation will promote the health and well-being of pregnant individuals and parents, enhance the health and development of infants and children, strengthen family functioning, facilitate school readiness, reduce instances of child abuse and neglect, promote economic mobility, and cultivate resilience and supportive communities. Furthermore, the bill obligates the department to report biennially to the governor and the General Assembly on the outcomes achieved for the program participants, although these reports will contain only non-identifying information. And I do want to just share a few bits of information on home visiting that we already have currently going on in Virginia. According to fiscal year 22, over 62,000 homes were provided with visitations. Over 9,000, close to 10,000 total screenings, including child development, caregiver depressions, and intimate partner violence screenings were performed. Over 7,000 children were served through the program. Over 1,400 pregnant women were served. And 572 dedicated professionals are currently employed. Today, I have with me the CEO of Families Forward, Jamia Crockett, who I'm bringing on as my expert to help out with any questions that you may have. So I would ask if Jamia would stand and if allow time for her to just share her stance as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Delegate Cole.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and esteemed members of the subcommittee. Thank you so much for your time. As the CEO of Families Forward Virginia, we are the state chapter for Prevent Child Abuse America. So when we think about prevention services, we know that home visiting is a known prevention strategy that does reduce the rates of child abuse and neglect. And so when we think about the home visiting programs that are under the Families Forward umbrella, of which there are 3, there are 8 home visiting models in the state. And so when we're thinking about how do we coordinate services, how do we look at sustainable funding streams, how do we be more efficient with our funding in order to leverage federal dollars that are coming into the maternal, infant, early childhood visiting program, we're looking for this bill to be able to solidify and codify that commitment from the state of Virginia to its families to ensure that we're able to cover the entire Commonwealth with home visiting programs and services.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jamil. Do we have any questions from committee members? Delegate Orrock.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. And I spoke with Delegate Cole, and I have no problem with the policy he's trying to implement. I would just say in my conversations with him and with the department, we typically don't put this level of specificity in code, but rather do it through enactment language where it's done through the regulatory process. Thereby it gives flexibility to hear from the universe of stakeholders out there. And I believe with Delegate Cole's concurrence, I'm going to move that it would go by for the day, and I will work with him and the department and Chandler to try and get the language in the proper form so we'll be ready to zip it through here next committee meeting.
Delegate Cole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do see the request as friendly, but I do want to make sure it gets before the Appropriations Committee, because I think there's, we have to go through, it has to be re-referred to Appropriations anyway, and I believe we may have some time to work on it as it's going through that process.
So, Madam Chairman.
Delegate Auroch.
If I may, to that point, would it be proper procedurally, and I think it would, or I wouldn't be asking the question, for us to embrace it in concept, whereby then we could take it directly to the full committee with the language that we would need at that juncture, and so as quickly as we can get it ready, get it to the full committee and not have to wait until, because we aren't scheduled to meet again until next Thursday evening, correct?
That's correct. We meet weekly.
So if we adopt it in concept, it could come forward as early as next Tuesday to full or next Thursday morning. And so if the patron's agreeable with that, Madam Chairman, I would move that we recommend reporting and referring in concept with the final language to be presented at full committee when ready, and going by the subcommittee chair as well to make sure she agrees with the language.
So I think that we do have some other folks in the queue, but I would like, what I'm hearing, Delegate Auroch, is that if we, when appropriate, if we have a motion that's been approved to report and refer this bill to appropriations, that you and Delegate Cole, if he's open to that, will continue working on it so that you might present any additional amendments in full committee for consideration by the full committee.
I'm fine with that.
I see Delegate Cole nodding, and he's fine with that. Okay. Delegate Srinivasan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Delegate Cole, I have a quick question, and you may have answered the question too. There's a budget amendment for this. Am I correct? This is the bill. There's a budget amendment that goes to appropriations.
That is correct,
okay.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions from committee members? Okay. Anybody else here to speak in support of this bill? Anybody opposed? All right, so the bill before us would need to be reported to appropriations. The committee operates by motion.
Madam Chair.
Delegate Auroch.
So I would move to recommend reporting and referring to appropriations as amended, so that we have that on record from the subcommittee, with understanding when it gets to full committee there will be a substitute, but this way the policy goes forward.
So I'm just going to take a quick chairman's prerogative. I think that it gives you have the opportunity to work with the patron on any changes, but I'm not sure I heard from the patron that he is necessarily agreeing to changes without having worked with you on them beforehand, right? Like,
I think we're going to work it out, but
okay.
Madam Chair, if I may, yes.
Yes.
I would. It's my hope that we pass to appropriations, and through the process, I will work with Delegate Auroch to get it into a place where we're both amenable to bring back before the full committee.
That sounds good. Okay. I think we just had a motion. All right, and it has been properly seconded and is now before us to report and refer this bill with as amended to appropriations. Please open the roll, Madam Clerk, and please 1 second, committee members. Awesome. Please vote. Oh, it's not lighting up to our IT team. Can we do? Okay, we're going to give it 1 second to catch up with us. Okay, try voting again. No, I think we're going to try to do a voice vote. Or roll call, sorry, roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye.
I believe that the vote is 8-0 for House Bill 537 to report and be referred to appropriations. Thank you very much, Delegate Cole.
Members of the subcommittee, I appreciate it.
We'll continue on with our bill presentations for folks who are not currently on the committee. I believe Delegate Simons is here too. Good afternoon, Delegate Simons. I believe before us is House Bill 361. Thank you, Delegate Simons. I see your hand up. 1 second, Delegate Srinivasan. I believe Council has some technical amendments.
Madam Chair, that's correct. We have 4 technical amendments. This is just to fix some cross-referential issues because this adds in a subdivision. The first is line 245. After A, strike 46, insert 47. Line 259, after A, strike 15, insert 16. Line 262, after A, strike 16, insert 17. And line 264, after A, strike 36, insert 37.
Great, thank you. Can we get a motion on those amendments so they're properly before us?
Madam Chair, I'd move adoption of the amendments.
Second.
We have a motion that's been properly seconded to move the adoption of the amendments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, the amendments are now before us. So the bill as amended. Delegate Srinivasan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Delegate Simons, I don't know if it's a question for you or for DSS. This process doesn't exist now, is that correct?
So we're adding to the code agencies that can get the direct police information, and I think I might have to phone a friend on that.
I'm sorry, Counsel. Oh. Is your mic on?
I just turned it on.
Great, thank you.
I heard somebody say something about a green light earlier, so I thought I'd turn that on. Madam Chair, Delegate Srinivasan, I'm sorry if I messed up your name there. This basically would codify Virginia State Police to be able to have the authority to share with DSS. It's currently in our code now. It just doesn't exist in Virginia State Police Authority right now.
Thank you very much. Are there other questions from the committee? Okay. Anybody in the audience that wishes to speak additionally in support of this bill?
I won't reintroduce myself. I'll just say that we have a strongly support from the administration on this bill.
Thank you.
By the way, I'm Tina Ragland. I'm the Division Director of Licensing for DSS. Sorry.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Is there anybody here who would like to speak in opposition to this bill? All right. Delegate, are there last questions from the committee? Delegate Simons, do you want to have a last word?
No, this is just a fix-it-up bill.
A fix-it-up bill. The committee operates by motion. This bill has been amended, and I'm just double-checking if it has to be reported to appropriations, and I don't think so. I don't think so, but it has been amended.
Madam Chair, I'd move the amended bill, the bill with amendments.
Second.
The motion has been properly seconded to report the amended bill. If we can open the roll. Okay, let's try voting. Wonderful if we can close the roll. And on the first time, the IT worked. So House Bill 361 has been passed our subcommittee to be reported with amendments by vote of 8-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, committee.
Delegate Hope.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. This is House Bill 75, and I do believe that there are line amendments that I'd ask the staff attorney to report.
Madam Chair, there are 2 line amendments. First is line 12, introduced after benefits. Insert administered by the U.S. Social Security Administration or the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And second is line 13, introduced after of, insert such.
We have the amendments that have been offered.
Madam Chair, I'd move adoption of the amendments.
Second.
We have a motion that's been properly seconded to adopt the amendments. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, so the amendments are now properly before us. Delegate Hope, do you want to speak to your bill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill will protect foster youth federal benefits and ensure that those benefits are available to them when they need them to most. Just a little bit of background, hundreds of Virginia's foster youth are eligible for federal benefits administered by the Social Security Administration. Think about SSI and SSDI survivor benefits, or the Department of Veterans Affairs, like Veterans Survivors Benefits. But often, the local DSS often becomes these children's representative payee, and their benefits are treated as revenue to pay for the child's care. Little, if any, of these youth financial benefits are preserved for when they exit the system. This bill would change all that. It would protect foster youth federal benefits. It would prevent the practice of requiring a foster youth to pay for their own foster care with their own federal benefits. Foster youth who age out of the foster system with access to their federal benefits will be able to use those funds for rent, food, college expenses, or a shirt and tie for their very first interview, and maybe to be even a delegate, Madam Chair. The bill was especially benefit foster youth for disabilities who face multiple overlapping challenges when they age out of foster care. That's the bill, Madam Chair, and I'm happy to, I know there's people to speak in favor of the bill. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Delegate Hope. Are there any questions from committee members? All right. Are there folks who would like to speak in support of this bill in our audience?
Maybe not.
Is there anybody who'd like to speak in opposition to the bill? All right. All right, committee members, do you have any questions? Delegate Hope, would you like to have a last word? You just had the first word.
Enough. Keep the trains
All right.
moving.
The committee, so remember this bill has been amended and the committee operates by motion.
Madam Chair, I'd move to report and refer this to appropriations with the amendments.
Second.
Great, thank you. The motion is to report and refer this bill as amended to appropriations. Please open the roll. Madam Clerk. Thank you very much. Please close the roll. This bill passes by a vote of 8-0 to be reported and referred as amended to appropriations. Thank you very much.
Thank the subcommittee. Thank you.
There we go. Delegate Gardner, House Bill 472. Would you like to present from the podium or from your desk? You want to do it there? All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 472, what this bill does is that it will eliminate the requirement that DSS identify and report strategies to maximize federal funds for child care services for TANF recipients and families.
The General Assembly would continue to receive the information through other DSS reporting requirements, but the information regarding TANF would be within the Child Care Development Fund, which is reported by VDOE, and they're responsible for doing that. These two reports are duplicative, and DOE provides the same information in a comprehensive annual report of the Child Care Development Fund. The bill improves the government and reduces duplicate work while continuing to provide the General Assembly with the information that they are entitled to. This frees up DSS staff to work on other critical mission-aligned work. We also have someone from VDOE if you would like to get additional information, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Delegate Gardner. Before we hear from the department, let's see if we have any questions from our committee members.
Madam Chairman.
Delegate Orrock.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, one question maybe of the two presenters. Long and the short, this is just eliminating duplicity. We're going to be still having the same objective of getting as many federal dollars as we can. It's just a matter of efficiency, and I suspect all 8 of us are going to vote yes before the folks come up. So.
Thank you. For those watching online, there were some thumbs up, literally thumbs up. Okay. Any other questions from our committee members? All right. Folks who would like to speak in support of this bill.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the subcommittee. I'm Deputy Superintendent Jenna Conway. I lead our early childhood care and education efforts and am responsible for producing the report in which the Department of Education details how it maximizes every possible federal dollar to provide child care services within the Commonwealth. And there is no need for the Department of Social Services to duplicate this effort. I'm speaking on behalf of the administration, strongly support of Delegate Gardner's bill.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair, Carl Ayers, Deputy Commissioner of DSS. As the former agency that had child care that originally had the report, we are more than happy for DOE to keep that report and us not have to do it. So I strongly support the bill in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayers. Is that like a not it? Okay. Are there any other questions from the committee members? No?
Madam Chair, I'd move to report.
Second.
The motion has been made and is properly before us to report House Bill 472. Madam Clerk, if you can open the roll. Great. Please close the roll. House Bill 472 has been, we voted to report this bill by a vote of 8-0. Delegate Walker, I think that leaves you. And it looks like you're going to the podium to present House Bill 550.
Madam Chair, it looks like I'm batting cleanup, and we will keep this short and sweet. But so, Madam Chair and committee members here, I'm here to speak to HB 550. I do have some folks here to speak in favor. But first, thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a simple amendment from the Office of Vital Records that provides clarity around who will be responsible for which steps in this process and the timeline should be expected. So I'm assuming you already have those amendments before you? Or staff? Okay.
Madam Chair, happy to report the amendments.
That would be great.
There are 4. The first is line 144, introduced after request, insert to the state registrar. Line 145, introduced after state, strike health commissioner and insert registrar. Line 146, introduced after state, strike health commissioner and insert registrar. Line 147, introduced after certificates, strike the remainder of lines 147 and all of line 148. I don't believe you're going to be able to see that on LIS, because it appears we do not have internet. Thank you.
Okay, so unfortunately, our internet is down in this room.
Didn't we have?
Our IT team says that might be with another team. I would just want to make sure everybody on the committee caught those amendments. Are we good? Okay. So we have these amendments that have been proffered.
Madam Chair, could I ask could I have a question?
Delegate Shin.
Madam Chair, I'd ask the delegate or the patron why we're replacing state health commissioner with registrars and what the origin of that is.
I'm sorry.
Why are we replacing state health commissioner with registrars? Like, why was it written originally with state health commissioner in line 144 through 148, and now we're replacing it with registrar? That might be an attorney question. I'm not sure.
Madam Chair, Delegate Shin, so this bill actually came before this committee last year, and if I recall, in full committee is like a 19-1. We got it onto the floor. There's a few questions, so what I'm doing is coming back and bringing more clarity to the bill that we've had before regarding the vital records here. So if I may proceed, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that explanation, Delegate. Do you have a follow-up at all, Delegate Shin?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry, I'm not sure I understand entirely. It's asking for request, and upon proof of identification, the state health commissioner shall provide an adult adopted person access to his original birth certificate.
Actually came before this committee last year.
Oh.
I think we just heard some video of your testimony.
Now we're saying we're going to go to the registrar, and I'm just asking, is there a technical difference from going from state health commissioner as opposed to a registrar?
So Madam, if I may speak.
Yes, Delegate Walker.
So the Office of Vital Records is the keeper of the registrar of the records here. So that's the reason we have that amendment for us. So where you're coming from with the commissioner, I'm not really sure.
Sorry, that's the original bill I have before me. It says state health commissioner. So I was just, but I thank you for that.
Yes, if Madam Chair, maybe go ahead, you can answer the question. I'm sorry.
Hello, sir. Could you identify yourself?
I had a backup.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Seth Austin. I'm the state registrar with VDH. And just to answer the question, we felt like it could add a little bit more clarity as to who exactly was going to be responsible. In this case, because different code sections reference the Commissioner of DSS and the Commissioner of Health, which I do report to the Commissioner of Health, it seemed like it would add more clarity to who exactly these requests would go to, and that would be my office.
Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Registrar.
And Madam Chair, I'd move adoption of the amendments.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Does that answer your question, Delegate Shin? Thank you very much.
So we have a motion that's been properly seconded for us to adopt these, I believe, technical amendments. For all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, the amendments have been adopted and are properly, the bill as amended is properly before us. Are there any questions from committee members? Okay. Are there any folks in the audience here who would like to speak to the bill? And I know we have folks who've signed up virtually to speak as well. Hello and welcome.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Ricardo. I am the Executive Director for C2 Adopt, which is a local child placing agency. I have been an adoption social worker for well over 30 years, but more importantly to this bill, I'm an adoptee, and I am also a birth mother who has placed a child for adoption. I'm also representing the Virginia Adoptee Rights Alliance, which is in strong support of this bill that is simply seeking equality. We would like, as adult adopted persons in the Commonwealth, to have the same access to the government's verification of our birth as all non-adopted adults have in the Commonwealth. And I'm also happy to answer any questions because I do have quite a bit of experience and expertise on this issue. Thank you.
I'd like to ask you a question, please. Do you know how many other states allow access to birth records this way?
Yes, it's 15.
Thank you. Delegate Shin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask a question, please.
Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
In current statute, it says that a person or an adopted adult person who is requesting access to their birth records would have to get approval basically from the Commissioner of Social Services or a circuit court, and we are now removing that entirely so that a person could go directly to the registrar and ask for this. Is that right?
That is correct. We would like to eliminate that added burden that would be put on adult adopted persons to have to get a court order to access that verification of our birth.
And a follow-up, Madam Chair.
Delegate Shin?
Thank you. How does this impact, how would this change impact the information of biological parents if they did not want to be known or like they had a closed adoption?
Well, it does release the name of the original biological parent, of course, for us to have that original birth certificate, but there are numerous ways already in place without accessing an original birth certificate to get that information. And so it would not really dramatically change what's already occurring, which is that people are accessing that information in multiple other ways.
A clarifying question, Madam Chair.
Delegate Shin.
So what are the other ways that currently adult adoptees can go through to find out information about their biological parents if the parents wished to keep it a closed adoption and did not want to be known?
Virginia has a process, a disclosure process. There's a disclosure application that one makes with the Virginia Department of Social Services that then has the department request that the agency that handled the adoption search and find the biological parents and ask if they want their information revealed. That's one way. There are certainly just doing your own due diligence on Google. That is a possibility. There is also DNA testing. That is a possibility. And the truth of today's standard of adoption is that we are not holding a lot of information confidential from the adoptee. We do hold it confidential from the general public, but open adoptions have been really the standard in Virginia since 1989 when we created parental placement laws that allowed for open adoptions in the Commonwealth.
Thank you. Thank you. Delegate Srinivasan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The question I had was, in the current process, do you have any data on any denials, either by the court or by the state agency, saying to someone, we can't release?
I don't have any data of exact numbers. I have anecdotal data because I've been running a birth parent and adult adoptee support group in the Commonwealth since 1991. And I know of numerous adoptees who have attempted to obtain their original birth certificate via court order and have been denied because of judges believing that they could not demonstrate good cause.
Thank you. Delegate Higgins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to make a statement. Another place you can gather this information is Ancestry.com, and there's a wealth of information there about people that would be looking for this or other relatives, and so, it's readily available.
That is correct, and adult adoptees in the United States have been actively searching and finding their biological relatives without access to their original birth certificate. This really isn't about that. It's about equality. It's about equal access to a government document that verifies your birth. The government has decided that we should do that we should verify births, and adult adopted persons are the only ones in the Commonwealth denied access to that once they reach the age of majority.
Are you okay? Good, great. I think we also have some folks online who are, Delegate Henson, is this a question for this witness?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just
Delegate Henson.
Question. Just a quick question. With the current process at state, how long does it take for a judge to provide a decision to get back to the adoptee of whether or not they can get access to this information? Because I know what this bill is doing is fast tracking, but I'm just curious about that data.
Again, all I can give is anecdotal. I've heard months to years.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have additional witnesses who'd like to testify via Zoom. So I'm going to call, are we on our Zoom? I'm going to call Jamie Weiss.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee for the opportunity to speak with you today about HB 550. My name is Jamie. However, in 1979, I was born as Hope Marie in Norfolk, Virginia. I was relinquished for an adoption, which was finalized when I was 6 months old. And in accordance with Virginia Code, at the finalization of my adoption, the law required that my original birth certificate, which recorded the facts of my birth, to be taken from me and sealed, which was then replaced with an amended certificate. This was done solely due to the fact that I was adopted, not because I was relinquished, but because I was adopted. My birth certificate was not sealed at the request of my birth mother, and it was not even an option that she was given, because neither termination of parental rights documents nor Virginia law offer any promise of anonymity to a birth parent from their own offspring, since it is not a guarantee that would be legally possible. She did not want my identity or hers to be kept from me. Instead, that was forced upon us by the law. Obtaining one's own birth record is a basic right that all other groups of people have except adopted persons, and a right that Virginia-born adopted persons had prior to 1972. In fact, sealing birth certificates was intended to keep sensitive information private from the public view, not to keep a person from knowing their own identity. HB 550 does one simple thing. It gives adult adopted persons the unrestricted right to obtain their own original birth certificate. And restoring this right is essential to ensuring equality for all adult adopted persons. And I ask for your favorable report on this bill.
Thank you. Next, we have Ann McKeska.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Subcommittee. Thank you for giving me the option to speak. I ask for your support in HB 550. I believe all Virginia-born people deserve equality under the law, and everybody who is not adopted can pay a nominal fee, request their birth certificate, and have it granted relatively rapidly. Adopted people are required to hire lawyers, go to court, wait months, years, pay a lot of money just to get proof of our identity. To speak to somebody's, it's not about finding biological family. I know my biological family. I did DNA, and I would have preferred to be able to go directly to my biological mother instead of spitting in a tube and having dozens and dozens of people reach out to me and try to figure out, who are you? Whereas if I had access to who I was actually born to, I would have went directly to her and involved nobody else, and her privacy would have been far more protected than it is if I'm forced to go to Ancestry DNA. So I ask that you support this so we can have proof of our birth, just like every other person in the Commonwealth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions from committee members right now? I have one question for council, if you can help us understand just the way the bill is written. Is this prospective for adoptions that take place, now moving forward, or does this allow adopted individuals to request, adult adoptees to request their birth certificates if they were adopted earlier? Thank you.
Madam Chair, this would be retrospective as well as prospective, so adult adoptees would be able to request their birth certificates under this provision as written.
Great. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, speaking to the bill.
Delegate Shin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with the folks who have spoken on this bill and ensuring that there is an easier and more timely way to request their own birth certificates and ensuring that folks have equal access to that. I remain concerned about how this means that folks can find out the personal identifying information of their biological parents in case those parents did not want to, if it was a closed adoption. And so that remains my concern. But I think the underlying value of ensuring equality of access to their own documents is a compelling one for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Delegate Walker, would you like to have the last word?
All I'm saying is, Madam Chair and members of the committee, that the vital records are not the property of the state. This bill does what is fair, making the right of your own birth records a right to enjoy by all Virginians, not those who were never adopted. This issue raised by this bill is fundamentally about the fairness of the person whose own records are at stake, the adopted person. I hope it to be the will of the committee to accept and pass this bill, please.
Thank you very much, Delegate. Okay, so we have an amended bill before us.
Madam Chair.
And that also, I believe, needs to be referred to appropriations, is the note we got.
Madam Chair, I'd move to report and refer the bill as amended to appropriations.
Second.
Great. We have a motion that's been properly seconded to report and refer the bill as amended to appropriations. I think we got the wording perfect on this last round. Madam Clerk, if you can please open the roll. Please vote. Oh no, but now the IT doesn't want to cooperate. Let's try again to vote for the first time, so nobody thinks we're voting more than once. Nope, it is not working. I think we're going to try to do a roll call vote.
Delegate Shin. Yes. Delegate Srinivasan.
Yes.
Delegate Henson.
Yes.
Delegate Gardner.
Yes.
Delegate Auroch.
Aye.
Delegate Walker.
Yes.
Delegate Higgins.
Yes.
Chair Tran.
Yes.
That's 8. House Bill 550 has been voted out of this committee by 8-0 to be reported and referred as amended to appropriations. Committee members, I think that might be our last bill for today. If we can get a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you so much.